Hello and welcome to Nature and Environment. And today I'm going to talk about the genesis of the offshore migration processing and detention centers. I will look at the current policy adopted by the UK government in an attempt to outsource migration processing to a remote country. I'll also look at some of the lessons that we have gathered from the offshore immigration processing and also make a few projections. Before I look at the main topics or subtopics for the day, I'll clarify the difference between these three technical terms. One is immigrant, two is emigrant, and three is migrant. Now, I'll use a practical approach to explain the difference. So, assume you are here, you are a resident of Australia or a citizen of Australia, and then you move all the way to UK here. Now, the people in UK will address you as immigrant, but the people that you left in Australia will address you as what? An immigrant. The same thing happens here. If you are a resident or a citizen of UK and you decided to relocate to Australia here, the people in Australia will refer to you as immigrant, and then the people in UK will refer to you as immigrant. Now, the two combined will give you what is called migrant. So, migrant can be used in place of any of these, and it is applied to any country. It doesn't matter where the country is located. Now, let's look at the genesis of the offshore migration processing. So, in my previous video, I touched briefly on the Tampa affairs, and today I would go into that again. So, what do we mean by Tampa affairs? In August 2021, there was a small Indonesian fishing boat called Palapa. Palapa had on board 433 passengers who were moving from Indonesia all the way to Australia here. Now, what happened is that their engine went dead, so they became stranded on sea for a couple of days. Luckily for them, there was a Norwegian fleeter or ship that was also heading towards Singapore. So they were rescued by this Norwegian ship called Tampa. And Tampa decided to take them to Australia. Now, the government of Australia wasn't happy with the decision. So, like I said in my previous video, it generated a kind of international controversy. Now, what happened again is that these people who arrived by boat were greatly accepted by the Australian government. But within a couple of days, a policy was passed known as Pacific Solution. So these guys who had arrived by boat at that time were all transferred to a neighboring country. How did the Australian government do that? He quickly secured agreement with Papua New Guinea and Nauru, and all these guys were transferred to PNG and that of Nauru. Now, what happened is that the government of Australia looked into their claim for the asylum, and then all those guys were processed offshore or were processed in PNG and Nauru. And once your claim into asylum was attested, you will be allowed to was resettled in Australia. So all the way from 2002 to 2009, there was a sharp decline in people who were arriving by boat into Australia. Well, so around 2008, the government of Australia decided to close down these offshore processing centers or the detention centers in Nauru and that of PNG. Why is that the government closed down these detention centers? Because there was a sharp criticism from the international community, from the charity groups, from the human rights groups, among others. Now, with increased fighting somewhere around 2010 in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Iran, those places, there were increased number of people arriving by boat into Australia. So these camps were opened, or they were reopened in 2012, and the same process was used, which was still counted on the Pacific solution. Somewhere around 2013, rebranded the policy and they introduced a new one which was much tougher, called the Protection Sovereign Borders. With that one, people who came July 2013 forward were moved to PNG and Nauru, but after they were granted asylum, they were not allowed to come to Australia, but they were allowed to settle in PNG or Nauru. Around 2017, the government of PNG decided to close these dealings with Australia. But as we talk now, Nauru is still active. Now let's see the country that followed suit. So in 2015, there were a number of refugees from Sudan and Eritrea who ended up in Israel. So they were all seeking asylum over there as well. If you look at the option that they were asked to resettle in a third world country, it's similar to that of the offshore migration processing there. But in this case, they were given, I think, an amount of money to, and then they were bought plane ticket to go and to resettle in a third world country. And you know, some of the names that popped up were again Rwanda and Uganda. Now let's see what is happening currently. So not too long ago, that was in April 2022, that the UK also announced a policy which the UK government said that it would be transferring people who have also arrived by boat in the United Kingdom to Rwanda. Now, in the case of UK, they are saying that, why are they trying to embark on this? They are saying that the number of people who are coming to UK by crossing the English Channel is increasing over time, and it is, you know, not helping the UK in so many ways. For instance, they are saying that smugglers are finding themselves in UK. Asylum system in UK is being abused by, you know, people who are not supposed to, you know, benefit from this. And if you look at the statistics, it has not been well with them at all. Now let's look at it. In 2020, 8,000 plus crossed the English Channel from France to that side, to UK. And then in 2021, 28,500 people plus also crossed, and then they found themselves also in United Kingdom. And beside all these things, when they announced the policy that people will be transferred to Rwanda to get asylum over there, within April to June, 5,000 people have also crossed again the English Channel, and then they have ended in the United Kingdom. And if you look at the number of, you know, the countries or the nationals who are doing that, basically they are from Syria, they are from Iran, and Eritrea. Yes, Eritrea too, a lot of people are from here. They are the people topping the list in the United Kingdom in terms of asylum seeking status. How is the UK approach different from the other ones? With the UK approach, they are just telling you that once they move you from UK and then you go to Rwanda, what you are going to do over there is that you going, once they look into your claim and then you qualify for the asylum, you'll be settled in Rwanda. If you are not, it means that you have to, you know, try and get citizenship over there, or you have to go back to your country. That is the approach that UK, you know, try to, you know, embark on. They are now going through a whole lot of challenges, and now the issue is with the Supreme Court, and we are waiting for a ruling. Now let's look at some of the things that we are not familiar with when it comes to Rwanda. Rwanda is an East African country which is located somewhere here. It has a population of 13 million people. Of these, 70% of them are subsistence farmers. Now, Rwanda is a country that went through genocide. somewhere around 1994, and we're talking currently, Rwanda is a host to over 150 refugees across Africa, including Burundi and DR Congo, and also people who try to make an attempt to cross from the northern part of Africa to Europe. Now let's look at some of the lessons that we have gathered from this. So it will surprise you to know that in the case of Australia, they were able to succeed in deterring people from entering by boat. It worked very well for them, and it's now working well for them. But in the case of Israel, they did a similar thing, but the people who were relocated, thousands of people were relocated to a third world country. But the media report indicates that only 9 people are residents of this third world country. Now let's look at some of the projections. Australia has done it. It has been very successful. Israel is also doing a similar thing. UK is trying to embark on that. What it means is that it's likely that all the advanced countries will also adopt this strategy, because if you don't do that, what will happen is that your home or your country will be a safe haven for refugees. And the point here is that, is it going to help the third world country? Is it going to help the advanced country? And are they running away from their international responsibilities, working in the interest of humanity as a whole? So these are the questions that we are all looking for answers. Before I go, I would say do subscribe, follow, and share. And thank you for your time. Bye.